Good evening. Tonight, we're pulling back the velvet rope on a party so exclusive, most people don't even know it's happening. We're talking about artificial intelligence, the invisible force behind your phone's autocorrect, quietly fixing your typos and finishing your sentences before you even know what you want to say. It's the secret sauce behind Netflix's eerily accurate show suggestions, making you wonder if your TV knows you better than your best friend. AI is everywhere, woven into the fabric of our daily lives. And right now, the world's biggest companies are throwing money at it like it's the last helicopter out of a burning music festival, desperate not to miss their ticket to the future. But we're not talking millions or even billions. Over the last 2 years, the tech industry has poured an estimated $10 trillion into AI. That's a number so big, it's hard to even picture. To put it in perspective, that's more than the entire economic output of Japan and Germany combined, two of the world's economic powerhouses. And yet, all this cash is fueling a technology that, for now, is just as famous for making hilarious factual errors and generating bizarre images of people with way too many fingers as it is for its breakthroughs. This isn't just a handful of scrappy startups in a garage. It's a full-blown gold rush, led by tech giants who are terrified of being left behind in the next big wave. They're building sprawling data centers the size of football fields, buying up every computer chip they can find, and hiring anyone who can spell algorithm, all in the hope of striking digital gold. The story they're selling is grand. AI will cure diseases, solve climate change, revolutionize industries, and maybe even figure out what women want, if you believe the hype. But here's the real question. What if the money runs out before the magic happens? What if the promise fizzles before the payoff? Because the cost of this AI revolution is absolutely astronomical, and the profits, at least so far, are laughably small compared to the investment. At some point, someone's going to look around and realize this $10 trillion party might end with a very expensive hangover, and the world will be left to clean up the mess. So, who's footing the bill for this AI bonanza? With all the headlines about artificial intelligence breakthroughs, it's easy to forget that behind every new chatbot or image generator, there's a mountain of cash being spent. But who's actually writing these massive checks? The usual suspects: Microsoft, Google, Meta, Amazon. And at the center of it all, NVIDIA, the company quietly powering the entire AI revolution. Microsoft alone has poured over $13 billion into OpenAI, and that's just the beginning. They're planning to spend a staggering $100 billion more on a single AI supercomputer, aiming to dominate the next era of technology. Google, spooked by the rise of ChatGPT, is now spending $40 billion a year on AI data centers and developing models like Gemini, hoping to keep their edge in search and beyond. Meta, led by Mark Zuckerberg, is dropping $35 billion annually on AI infrastructure, snapping up NVIDIA chips by the truckload to fuel their ambitious plans for the metaverse and smarter social platforms. Why all this spending? So their AI can generate even weirder birthday messages, recommend the next viral video, and show you ads so personalized, it's almost creepy. It's all about keeping you engaged and keeping their ad dollars flowing. Amazon is racing to build out its AI cloud services, investing tens of billions to rent out AI power to startups, researchers, and even their competitors. They want to be the backbone of the AI-powered internet. And NVIDIA? They're the arms dealer in this digital gold rush, selling the high-powered chips everyone desperately needs. Their valuation has soared past $3 trillion, making them one of the most valuable companies on the planet. These companies are spending at a scale that dwarfs most national budgets, billions upon billions, all to stay ahead in the AI race and avoid being left behind in the next big tech shift. The stakes are enormous, the competition is fierce, and the spending is relentless. Every quarter, the numbers get bigger. But with all this money flying around, the big question remains: is anyone actually making money, or is this just the world's most expensive tech experiment? Where's all this money going? When you hear about billions being poured into AI, it's easy to imagine it's all just lines of code. But the reality is far more complex and expensive. It's not just software, it's hardware, infrastructure, and energy. The costs start piling up long before a single AI model is trained. The backbone is NVIDIA's GPUs. Each H100 chip costs about $40,000, and companies are buying hundreds of thousands. These chips are the workhorses powering today's AI revolution. Meta alone plans to have 350,000 of these chips by year's end, $14 billion just on chips. That's more than the annual budget of some small countries, spent on hardware alone. Then come the data centers, city-sized warehouses costing over $1 billion each, packed with servers that devour electricity around the clock every single day. By 2027, AI could use as much power as Sweden. That's an entire nation's worth of energy just to keep these systems running. Cooling these centers is another massive expense. Without it, the chips would literally melt. Specialized cooling systems run non-stop, adding millions more to the bill. Some data centers are being built in the Arctic just to save on air conditioning. Even the location of these facilities is dictated by the need to cut costs and manage heat. And the costs don't stop. Salaries for top engineers and the massive data sets needed to train AI all add up. Recruiting and retaining talent is a competition in itself, driving wages ever higher. Every step is a money pit, with billions spent just to keep the lights on and the servers from catching fire. Maintenance, upgrades, and emergency repairs are constant, costly realities. The result? A financial black hole, sucking in capital at an unprecedented rate. The scale of spending is almost unimaginable, and it's only accelerating. And the spending shows no sign of slowing. Every month brings new announcements, bigger budgets, and even more ambitious projects. But what about the returns? With so much money on the line, everyone's watching to see if these investments will pay off, or if the costs will keep spiraling. So, what are these companies getting for their trillions? In a word, not much. Microsoft's Copilot charges $30 a month per user, but adoption is slow, and revenue is a fraction of what's being spent. Google's AI features are expensive to run, and may actually be shrinking their profit margins. Meta is giving away its AI models for free, hoping to build a user base and figure out monetization later. Amazon's AI services are a drop in the bucket compared to their overall business. Across the board, the story is the same. A fire hose of spending, met with a trickle of revenue. The math doesn't add up. For now, AI is a spectacularly expensive experiment with little to show for it. So why keep spending? The gap between AI hype and financial reality is now a chasm. CEOs promise AI will reshape society and create trillions in value, but the numbers say otherwise. For every dollar earned, companies might be spending 10, 20, or even 50 on infrastructure. Microsoft's Copilot, for example, may cost more to run than it brings in. Yet these companies can't stop. They've spent too much to turn back. Admitting the truth would tank their stock prices, so they double down, hoping for a breakthrough. Investor optimism keeps stock prices high, fueling even more spending. It's a feedback loop. Hype drives investment, which drives more hype. But this bubble is fragile, and reality is closing in. What happens when the music stops? You'd think AI would get cheaper over time like most tech, but the opposite is happening. To make smarter AI, you need more data and more computing power. Both are getting pricier. NVIDIA's chips are in such high demand that prices keep rising, and each new generation is even more expensive to develop. Energy costs are soaring, with data centers straining power grids and sometimes needing their own power plants. The push for clean energy and limited infrastructure only adds to the cost, and we're running out of high-quality data. Soon, AI will need expensive proprietary or synthetic data to improve. Every input, hardware, energy, data, is getting more expensive, not less. The cost curve is going up, not down. The AI arms race is burning cash faster than ever, and there's no end in sight. So what's the business model? Honestly, it's built on hope, hype, and fear of missing out. First, there's the dream of a killer app, an AI breakthrough so valuable it pays for everything. No one knows what it is, or if it's even possible. Second, there's hope for a massive efficiency breakthrough, a new algorithm that slashes costs overnight. But that's just wishful thinking. Third, the giants hope to outlast the competition, spending everyone else into bankruptcy and then owning the market. It's a high-stakes game of chicken, with trillions on the line. The strategy isn't about profits, it's about survival. The hope is that eventually, something will make it all worthwhile. But hope is not a business plan. If this all sounds familiar, it should. We've seen it before. The dot-com bubble, wild promises, sky-high spending, and companies with no profits. Pets.com spent millions on ads, then went bankrupt in a year. The crypto bubble. Blockchain was going to change everything, but most projects went nowhere. FTX, hailed as the future, collapsed in scandal. The pattern is always the same: hype, massive investment, and a crash when reality sets in. The AI bubble has all the same warning signs. Eventually, every business must make more than it spends. Hype can delay the reckoning, but not prevent it. When the optimism fades, the fall is fast and brutal. So how does a $10 trillion bubble pop? Not with a bang, but with a series of cracks. It starts when a major company quietly scales back AI spending, sending shockwaves through the market. Investors wake up, stock prices plummet, and panic spreads. Tech giants survive, but thousands of AI startups go extinct overnight. Data centers sit half-empty, and mass layoffs follow. The world won't end, but a generation of tech innovation will be put on ice. The warning signs are already here: skyrocketing costs, nervous jokes about electricity bills, and no clear path to profit. We're in the final giddy moments of a historic speculative fever. The party's still raging, but the clock is ticking. Morning is coming, and with it, a very expensive hangover.